Okay, so today in class we're going to be talking about dental hygiene. Dental hygiene really is one of the things that is kind of almost a forgotten art inside of a health class, because usually when you think about health class, you think nutrition, you think working out, you think learning CPR, anything like that, first aid. But one of the things that you really don't ever learn is how to properly take care of your teeth. So what we're going to be doing today is learning how to properly take care of your teeth. So just to kind of start with class today, I'm going to be reading the book called Dr. DeSoto. It's a little, uh, not really a children's book, but it's kind of just a little playful book to get things going, just introduce us to the topic of dental hygiene. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. All right, so Dr. DeSoto, the dentist, did very good work, so he had no end of patients. Those close to his own size, moles, chipmunks, etc., sat in the regular dentist chair. Larger animals sat on the floor, while Dr. DeSoto stood on his ladder. For extra large animals, he had a special room. Dr. DeSoto was hoisted up to the patient's mouth by an assistant, who also happened to be his wife. Dr. DeSoto was especially popular with big animals. He was able to work inside their mouths, wearing rubbers to keep his feet dry, and his fingers were so delicate and his drills so dainty they could hardly feel any pain. Being a mouse, he refused to treat animals dangerous to mice, and it said so on his sign. When the doorbell rang, he and his wife would look out the window. They wouldn't admit even the most timid-looking cat. One day, when they looked out, they saw a well-dressed fox with a flannel bandage around his jaw. "I cannot treat you, sir," Dr. DeSoto shouted. "Sir, haven't you read my sign?" "Please," the fox wailed, "have mercy, I'm suffering," and he wept so bitterly it was painful to see. "Just a moment," said Dr. DeSoto. "That poor fox," he whispered to his wife. "What shall we do?" "Let's risk it," said Mrs. DeSoto. She pressed the buzzer and let the fox in. He was up the stairs in a flash. "Bless your little hearts," he cried, falling to his knees. "I beg you, do something. My tooth is killing me." "Sit on the floor, sir," said Dr. DeSoto, "and remove that bandage, please." Dr. DeSoto climbed up the ladder and bravely entered the fox's mouth. "Ooh, wow," he gasped. The fox had a rotten bicuspid and unusually bad breath. "This tooth will have to come out," Dr. DeSoto announced, "but we can make you a new one." "Just stop the pain," whimpered the fox, wiping some tears away. Despite his misery, he realized he had a tasty little morsel in his mouth, and his jaw began to quiver. "Keep open," yelled Dr. DeSoto. "Wide open," yelled his wife. "I'm giving you gas now," said Dr. DeSoto. "You won't feel a thing when I yank that tooth out." Soon the fox was in dreamland. "Mmm, yummy," he mumbled. "How I love them raw, with just a pinch of salt and dry white wine." They could guess what he was dreaming about. Miss DeSoto handed her husband a pole to keep the fox's mouth open. Dr. DeSoto fastened his extractor to the bad tooth. When he and his wife began turning the winch, finally, with a sucking sound, the tooth popped out and hung swaying in the air. "I'm bleeding," the fox yelled when he came to. Dr. DeSoto ran up the ladder and stuffed some gauze in the hole. "The worst is over," he said. "I'll have your new tooth ready by tomorrow. Be here at 11 sharp." The fox, still woozy, said goodbye and left. On his way home he wondered if it would be shabby of him to eat the DeSotos when the job was done. After office hours, Mr. or Mrs. DeSoto molded a tooth of pure gold and polished it. "Raw with salt, indeed," muttered Dr. DeSoto. "How foolish to trust a fox." "He didn't know what he was saying," said Mrs. DeSoto. "Why should he harm us? We're helping him." "Because he's a fox," said Dr. DeSoto. "They're wicked, wicked creatures." That night the DeSotos lay awake, worrying. "Should we let him in tomorrow?" Miss DeSoto wondered. "Once I start a job," said the dentist firmly, "I finish it. My father was the same way." "But we must do something to protect ourselves," said the wife. They talked and talked until they formed a plan. "I think it will work," said Dr. DeSoto. A minute later he was snoring. The next morning, promptly at 11, a very cheerful fox turned up. He was feeling not a particle of pain. When Dr. DeSoto got into his mouth, he snapped it shut for a moment, then opened wide and laughed. "Just a joke," he chortled. "Be serious," said the dentist sharply. "We have work to do." His wife was lugging the heavy tooth up the ladder. "Oh, I love it," exclaimed the fox. "It's just beautiful." Dr. DeSoto set the gold tooth in the socket and hooked it up to the teeth on both sides. The fox caressed the new tooth with his tongue. My, it feels good, he thought. I really shouldn't eat them. On the other hand, how can I resist? We're not finished, said Dr. DeSoto, holding up a large jug. I have here a remarkable preparation developed only recently by my wife and me. With only one application, you can be rid of toothaches forever. How would you like to be the first one to receive this unique treatment? I certainly would, the fox declared. I'd be honored. He hated any kind of personal pain. You will never have to see us again, said Dr. DeSoto. No one will see you again, said the fox to himself. He had definitely made up his mind to eat them. With the help of his brand new tooth, Dr. DeSoto stepped inside the fox's mouth with a bucket of secret formula and proceeded to paint each tooth. He hummed as he worked. Miss DeSoto stood by on the ladder, pointing out spots he had missed. The fox looked very happy. When the dentist was done, he stepped out. Now close your jaws tight, he said, and keep them closed for a full minute. The fox did as he was told. Then he tried to open his mouth, but his teeth were stuck together. Ah, excuse me, I should have mentioned, said Dr. DeSoto. You won't be able to open your mouth for a day or two. The secret formula must permeate the dentine. But don't worry, no pain ever again. The fox was stunned. He stared at Dr. DeSoto, then at his wife. They smiled and waited. All he could do was say, Frank oo berry mush. Though he through his clenched teeth and get up and leave, he tried to do so with dignity. Then he stumbled down the stairs in his daze. Dr. DeSoto and his assistant had outfoxed the fox. They kissed each other and they took the rest of the day off. So it's a nice little book. It's kind of silly, but it kind of gets the point across that you got to take care of your teeth or mice are going to come in your mouth and glue your teeth shut. But in all seriousness, dental hygiene is super serious, so obviously the fox wasn't taking care of his teeth the way he should, eating something that he shouldn't, broke his tooth, and he had to go get it fixed. So just kind of move in to the next point. We're just going to go over what kind of teeth we have, what good dental hygiene skills we should learn, and what we should practice each day. So the first thing that we're going to learn is molars. Molars are used for grinding up food. So instead of biting with the front of your teeth, you usually bite with the front of your teeth and then move to the back, which are the molars. You have 3 on each side, up in the bottom, so you have 12. They're used for grinding and chopping up food, so when you eat, it's easier for your digestive system to digest. The next would be your incisors. Your incisors would be your front teeth, the teeth you see when you smile. They're used for cutting and slicing food. So when you bite into an apple, you're not going to want to bite with the side of your mouth because those are obviously used for grinding. So you're going to want to bite in with your incisors because they're sharp and flat, and they can break through the hard skin of the apple. And there's 8 of them. So you have 4 in the front, 4 in the bottom. Actually, no, you have these 2 in the front, and then All right, so then the next one would be cuspids or canines. That would be the pointy teeth right here. So you can see why they're called canines, because they're pointy. They look like dog's teeth. Those are also used for cutting and slicing. Like I said, they're pointed. So that's how you can tell between canines or cuspids and your incisors, because your incisors, as you can see, are flat, while your canines are pointed. And you have 4 of those. So you have the 2 up top and the 2 up bottom. And then one of the most important things about your teeth is the dentin. The dentin is basically another name for enamel. You hear dentists talking about how important enamel is, how you should always brush, because that's what you're trying to protect is the enamel. It's the hard outer coat of your teeth. It's really what protects your teeth from getting cavities and infections. So you really want to take care of that. Super important. Okay, so the way you protect the dentin is you brush. Now, what you need to do is you need a good toothbrush with like hard bristles. If you ever see your toothbrush, the bristles are going out like this instead of straight up and down, if they flare, that's when you're going to want to get a new toothbrush because it's not going to be doing the job that you want it to do. So you want to brush 2 times a day, once in the morning after you eat breakfast, because you're not going to want to eat breakfast and then you're not going to want to brush your teeth and then eat breakfast because it's just not going to taste right, and then you're kind of defeating the purpose of brushing your teeth. So you want to brush once in the morning after breakfast and then once at night for 2 minutes. So a total of 4 minutes per day. Then after that, you kind of want to, you don't have to, but it's it's nice to get a fluoride mouthwash, because what the fluoride mouthwash does is it strengthens the enamel around your teeth, and instead of just brushing, which you might miss a spot here and there while you're brushing, the mouthwash should kind of make up for what you miss. And then flossing, I'll be honest, I never floss. It's one of the worst habits that I have is not flossing, because I was kind of plagued with cavities for a little bit, but I'm assuming if I flossed, it would no cavities whatsoever. So what flossing does is your teeth are so tightly packed, almost, unless they're a little spaced out, but if they're tightly packed, what the floss does is it gets inside the teeth where they meet together, and it just kind of cleans out in there where you can't get with a toothbrush or mouthwash, and it just ensures that you're going to get a clean mouth every time. So then, like I said, when your brush starts to flare is when you're going to want to get a new toothbrush. So that's about every month and a half is when you should exchange your toothbrush. So then moving on to the next spot, we're just going to do a little review of what we learned today. So this tooth is the molar. As you can tell, it has two roots because it needs to be strong inside your gum. You don't really want to lose these teeth because they're super important to the digestive system. As you can tell, you can see it has crowns on the top of it because it's used for grinding. So they fit perfectly with the teeth up top, so you can easily grind the food and digest it easily. And as I said, humans typically, sometimes they don't have 12, but most likely you're gonna have 12. Unless you have your wisdom teeth grow in. The wisdom teeth are all the way in the back, and you usually don't get those until about later into puberty. And then this tooth would be the the incisor. The incisor is, just to review a little bit, is the 4 teeth up top and 4 teeth up bottom. It's flat. They're used for cutting into food. And like I said, they're used for cutting and slicing through food. They're single rooted, as you can tell right here, unlike the molars, which are double rooted. And they have, humans have about 8 of these. So like I said, 4 up top, 4 on the bottom, unless you play hockey, and then hockey players usually have about 6 of them because they're missing these 2 in the front. And then this one is the cuspid, or the canine. As you can tell, instead of the incisor, it has a point to it, so it's like a canine's tooth. That's pretty much the easiest way to be able to identify the canine tooth because of the point. They're used for cutting food also, and humans have about 4 of these. So once again, to review, it's these pointy ones. You have about 2 up top and 2 on bottom. All right. So just to review a little of what we learned before I send you on your way. So how many minutes a day should we brush our teeth? A, 3 minutes. B, 4 minutes. C, 2 minutes. Or D, 5 minutes. If you answered B, 4 minutes, you're correct, because if you think about it, like what I said, is in the morning you're going to want to brush for 2 minutes after you eat breakfast, and then at night for 2 minutes after you eat dinner, or before you go to bed, preferably before you go to bed. So when you add that up, it's a total of 2 minutes. But if you do use mouthwash and you do floss like you should be doing, it should be about, I would say, a total of 6 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes for brushing your teeth at night and in the morning. And then should we floss after every brush? Yes, you should floss after every brush, because your teeth are so tightly packed that you're not going to be able to get every single piece of plaque that builds up on your tooth. So it'd be a great idea to use floss and a fluoride mouthwash just to build up that enamel and make sure you get all the food that's stuck in your teeth, because if you don't, it's going to build up plaque, and plaque is what leads to dentin breakdown, which could cause cavities and later infection. And then how much should we use mouthwash? So mouthwash should be used, personally I use it twice a day, right after I brush, in the morning and at night. So I think that is the most important times to use it, because right after you eat in the morning and then right after you eat at night is when you get most of the plaque buildup. So it's important that you want to get as much of that done as possible. So personally, I would do it twice a day, one before or one after I brush my teeth, and then one time before I go to bed, just to kind of like break down that plaque buildup. Alright, so just to kind of wrap things up, I'm going to want you guys to do some homework. So I have a worksheet ready for you guys in the front of the class that you can just pick up when the bell rings. So in the meantime, just go over what we learned today, and then when the bell rings, come up to the front of the room and get your worksheet, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.